What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zcash today, ZEC USD. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. It is the 30th and final day of November. Here we are sitting at about $438 right now. 3 hours, 50 minutes left in this day, left in this week, left in this month. We're at a very, very significant candle close, and the month closing like this is not friendly, I must say. It's truly not a friendly monthly close, but we've had a non-friendly monthly close all the way back right here, and still the very next month we pumped higher, and then we dropped. We had I guess a little bit of a wick here, and then the next month we pumped higher, and then we dropped, right? So I'm just saying, just because this monthly candle closes like this doesn't mean that we can't inevitably go higher, top off at the range we've been assuming this whole time, and then still move down from there. There's a couple of different things that I want to look at that suggest that we have found a low point, that we are actually at a low point right now. And, first and foremost, most obvious would be that we are, right here at our prior low point. If we are in a horizontal consolidation phase like this, we're clearly at the base of this range. If we had a pennant like this, well, clearly we're breaking out and we're about to go lower. I do want to say, and this is something that we've been talking about really over the past week, is that a close below this daily close would not look good. However, I'm not completely convinced that we go lower. Right, that this was the criteria. To close below this day here was the criteria that we needed in order to validate that we are breaking out, that we are going lower. So technically, right now, with 3 hours and 48 minutes left, and let me speak before you think that I'm just coping here. Just hear me out. And let's look at the short-term stuff before you think I'm just coping here. Just wait, okay? $438 now. That's not a lot of volume. We're breaking out, quote unquote, right now, and that's not a lot of volume, right? We tried to break out here, and we had dramatically more volume, but it was lesser than what we had before, so we couldn't push higher. We tried to break out here. We had more volume by a tremendous amount than we do now. We tried to break out here, but it was lesser volume. It was decaying, so we did not break out. We have even less volume here, and now instead of trying to break out this way, we're trying to break out this way. We have even less volume here. And it's only been decaying as we've been moving down, where it's been increasing as we've been moving up. I'm not convinced. Not at this point. With all this time, with all this attention, with all this price action here, being here, if we were to break, I think we would have done it already. I really think, and we probably have a more adverse reaction than what we're seeing now. Now, does that mean that we can't close here or lower? Does that mean that we can't go lower? Sure, we could. But I really do think that we're closer to a low point than we are a point of breaking. Does that make sense? I will admit defeat. I will admit defeat if we get multiple days to close below this level, below this white line, and if volume picks up as we move down. Until then, unfortunately, it's kind of a late start. If we do actually drop, it will be a late start to calling this drop, and that's just unfortunate. But I'm just not quite sold. It seems odd to me, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just biased. I don't know. But let's look at some charts. I want to look at the Bitcoin chart. Okay, this is Zcash versus BTC. ZEC versus BTC, and on the 4-hour time frame here, you can see that we actually have bullish divergence on the RSI. You've been in a downtrend in the RSI, lower lows and lower highs. You have bullish divergence typically, and if you've been following this channel for a long time, you know that I always say when we have a downtrend in the RSI, typically it ends in the oversold zone with bullish divergence. It doesn't need to end with bullish divergence, but that's pretty typical, and we have that here. In other words, what I'm saying is the next move up, we have bullish divergence, we should be moving up. The next move up would likely break us out of this downtrend. If we're breaking out of a downtrend versus BTC, we're likely going to see a nice pop up in the US dollar price as well. Now, this is not enough to convince me or anybody that we're going to see new relevant highs. But at least something. At least something. And depending on how this little something goes, it can either be a bear, a bull trap, and be bearish and promote lower price action, or we could break serious points of resistance and suggest that we are in fact going higher, that everything we've been counting on as far as Zcash going to new highs goes has been valid this whole time, at least from the bullish standpoint. Zcash here on the 4-hour time frame versus the Bitcoin pairing, bullish divergence on the RSI, bullish divergence on the stochastics, bullish divergence on the MACD. You've got bullish divergence on every indicator on your 4-hour time frame versus Bitcoin. That's bullish, guys. That's good. That expresses bullish days to come, not bearish days to come. Okay, if we were breaking out, you would expect bearish days to come, bullish days to come, right? And we are at this kind of breakout moment. I would think a bounce right here, I would think it's good. Call me crazy. I would think it's good. Looking at the weekly time frame as well, your oscillators, your RSI has reset, your stochastics have reset, and your MACD is still bullish overall. The month is bearish. I don't like that big wick, but you can still push higher. Looking at Zcash here on the US dollar pair, if we look at the 1 hour time frame now, there's a lot of volume here. On the 1 hour, right? Not a lot of volume today. One of the lower levels of volume today. There is a lot of volume here, but we're not going anywhere, right? We're still here at this base area of this range that we've been in. We're getting a lot of volume at the lows, but we're not going anywhere. That's a good thing, man. That's a good thing, right? Like here, you had a lot of volume relevant to what we've seen here. You had a lot of volume come in right at the lows. That's a good thing, man. That's a real good thing. Let's see. Let's see here. Where can I find an example of like what we're doing? I can't find one right now. That's okay. I don't need it. Whatever. I mean, here, look at this level, for example. Here you were holding support, right? You found resistance right here. When you broke out, look at what happened. You picked up volume, and you broke out, and you continued with the volume. Then volume dies off, so what happens? You're at your low point. So then you reverberate. You came back to the norm. Back tested it for resistance, found some support. No volume, but then you got volume on your breakout here, right? We're getting volume now. And in a sense, I don't know. Are we at the base of this range? Maybe we did break out. Maybe we did break out right here. Maybe we did break out, and we are getting volume. But we're not, there's no follow through. I don't know. I feel like right here, if we were to be bearish, we should have gone lower already. That's my thoughts. If we're right here, why not? 1 hour RSI does look bearish. Stochastics look bearish, and the MACD looks bearish as well. Let's be fair. 4 hour time frame on the US dollar pair also has bullish divergence on the RSI. Also has bullish divergence. I guess not on the stochastics, my bad. But still like a double bottom nonetheless. And very beautiful. Look at how perfect this bullish divergence is on the MACD. Not only do you have bullish divergence with higher lows here, and even right now you're getting a little red. You're getting a higher low right there. It is, oops, slightly, oh so slightly red right there. But you're also getting bullish divergence on your oscillators too. I feel like the momentum is shifting to the upside, and who cares what I feel, but that's what I'm seeing in the charts. It makes the most sense to me. US dollar pair, Bitcoin pair, bullish divergence on basically every indicator that you have. And then on the daily time frame, we're decaying in volume, not picking up in volume. That makes me think that this is false. And maybe we get a quick little flash down, a true fake out that takes us below this low, and then we move up. But again, I'm not bearish until we start picking up volume as we're dropping. I'm not bearish until we have, at this point, I'm being very stubborn, 2 days in a row closing below this price. 2 days in a row closing below this price. And even then, depending on how it looks, I might not be bearish. That alone is not enough. Up here, that's what we were saying. Up here, that's what we were saying. Closing below this 2 days in a row would be validating, or even 1 day would be very validating to the breakout. But how we've come down here in the way that it has, it doesn't seem right that we would break out to the downside. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't think I am. We'll see. Time will tell. Daily RSI right here at the 40, perfect area to bounce, actually. Perfect area to bounce from. Also with the 4 hour time frame, we do have this downtrend too, right? Lower highs, lower lows. And you've got bullish divergence at the oversold zone. We likely do break this. We likely from here will move up and break this, which implies that the coming days will be bullish, not bearish. And again, none of this implies, technically, none of what we've gone over in the short term on the 4 hour time frame, none of that implies that we have to go above this high. But it would at least imply some type of positive reaction. If we find resistance here and we come back down, okay, we'd be bearish here. If we find resistance here and we come back below the 382, okay, we'd be bearish here. If we come up here, we find support at the golden ratio, we're bullish. If we come up here, we find support at the 236, we're bullish. You know what I mean? Like it just depends on how we retrace. This retracement in itself will be bullish. Is it bullish enough to give us new highs? Or is it just a second chance to get out? Hopefully, we'll be able to identify that. And ideally, if this is a second chance to get out, we'll be able to properly identify that at a price that's a little bit more suitable than where we are now, right? If you're looking to buy Zcash, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, I actually think this is a good time to buy. with very tight stop losses, I think this is a good time to buy because you do have bullish divergence to so many different indicators, so many different effects on the US dollar and the BTC chart here. Stochastics have reset themselves, totally reset. MACD has reset itself entirely. And the RSI is pretty damn low. Okay, it's not a bad thing. We have lower lows in the RSI. We still have higher lows. I guess technically today, if we do close below here in the next 3 hours and 40 minutes, technically we do have lower lows. So there's no hidden bullish divergence. But we're still at an area that we found support before. We found support before. We found resistance before. We found support before, resistance right there, support right there. You know, like we typically do find some significance in this area. That doesn't mean, again, that doesn't mean that we're off to the races. But at the very least, we'd see some type of volatility that could imply maybe we are in a downtrend. Maybe we don't see a higher high. But at that point, I think we'd be able to figure that out, probably from a price that's well above $500, not here that's just below or just above $400. Does that make sense? So, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I've been very clear with my thoughts on Zcash this whole time, right? Here, we were advocating the buy. Here, we were advocating the sell. Here, we were advocating the buy. Here, we were advocating the sell. We did not advocate for the buy here at this low. But then once we like moved up here, then we advocated for the buy and we were bullish. And we were bullish this whole time. Then here, we advocated for the sell. And then we advocated for the buy. And then we advocated no selling, no buying up here. And we've been advocating for the buy ever since. Right? I'm still advocating for that. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I don't know if it's the right time to sell yet. None of this is based off of financial advice. This is all based off of my opinion. You do what you want. It's your money anyways. If you make money, I don't want a profit. If you lose money, don't come to me asking for a refund. Right? It's not financial advice. This is just my thoughts and my opinions. But we've been very, very, I feel like pretty fairly accurate with Zcash up until this point here. This has been a little bit more bearish than expected, but even still, I maintain the stance that I believe we are going up to somewhere between $877 and $930. Somewhere up just a little bit above this high. Just a little bit. Get some bullish or bearish divergence up there, and then we drop. And then comes the long road down below $400, probably below $300, and maybe, just maybe even below $200. Which sounds crazy, but this is crypto, man. Crazy things happen. Anyways, I don't think I have anything else that I want to say. It's very important to keep in mind, you know, if this is the top, it's very important to keep in mind that $300 and $171 would be your immediate targets to consider. Likely nothing below 170, likely at least 300. If we are breaking structure here. I'm not convinced yet though. Okay. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I think it's actually a good time to buy Zcash. And again, this is predicated on the 4-hour time frame bullish divergence that we're seeing across the board on the US dollar pair and the Bitcoin pair as well. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you all for being here. Hit that like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves. And I mean, again, let me just look here real quick. Hold on. Can we find an example of this? Let's just see. Right, I mean, like, look, you're like here, you're moving down, volume comes in. You're moving up, but there's no volume. So what happened? You went the other direction. Your overall structure was down. As you're moving down, volume's coming in. As you're moving up, no volume comes. So what'd you do? You came down. It's not that cut and dry every single time, but that's just the thoughts there. I don't know if you guys can hear my 3-year-old crying. I don't know why she's crying, but my wife's with her, so she's okay. There's not just a random child crying in my house for no reason, just so you understand. But same kind of thought here to the opposite effect. I got a little distracted. What I'm trying to say is, again, moving down, the overall trend is down. Volume coming in as you're moving down here. No volume on the way up, so you proceeded down, and volume picked up as you move down again, right? Here we start to move down. Look, there's an absence of volume. What happened? That was a low point. We turned things around. It's not that cut and dry, but just hear me out, right? Keep going. Now we're to the opposite effect. Now we're in an uptrend. We're moving up. Volume is coming in as we're moving up. In fact, it's not that there's no volume. It's that volume continues to decrease as we move down. It's a complete absence of volume as we move down. This is like the exact inverse of that initial down, and then there was no volume on the way up, so then we pushed down lower. What I'm trying to say here is when we move higher, we want there to be some volume. We don't need it to be extreme volume like this. We don't want to see crazy volume and we're only here. That would imply a lot of selling. You just want to see volume starting to grow as price is starting to grow. That's it. Just like if we were looking to move up and volume wasn't growing, that would be bad. Moving down, volume's not coming in, that should be good. That should be good. And I want to look one more time real quick. Let's look at the Binance pairing here. Yeah, no volume. Calling it. It's a bold call. We're bullish at the lows, though. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.